fellow sufferers under the regime of Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, and philosophy extraordinaires, men, philosophers, children, gentlemen, animals, spectators. Welcome to another edition of Philosophy Class Online with Mr. Doran. Today I want to review with you, first of all, the scholastic method of writing. All right? You will remember this from St. Thomas Aquinas, what we read of him from the Summa just a few months ago during second quarter, when we read his article on whether God exists. We read another one before that on whether the existence of God is self-evident, and we talked about Anselm's ontological argument. But going back through things, one, I want to review how to read this because we're going to be reading a few of these in the coming weeks in your text. And if you want to know where we are in your text, again, I mean, it's homemade, right? So it doesn't have the greatest table of contents. But here's the Republic, Book 1. Here's the start of Book 2. Republic ends there. There's Republic Book 7 where we read the allegory of the cave. If you remember, just keep going past that and you'll hit Pascal's wager at some point. Well, there's the ontological argument of Anselm. Then there's Pascal's wager. You remember it's better to bet that there is a God than not. Then right after that is whether the existence of God is self-evident. Turn it once more and bam, on whether God exists. Okay? That's where we are today. And we'll be doing the subsequent articles following that. So get your paper clip and mark our new place in the book so that you can easily grab paper clip and open right to the correct page. Okay, good. So if you recall, and I want you to get your books out now and actually turn to that page. So find that page and I'll be right back. Did you find the page? Good. We're back. Okay, you'll notice that first of all there's a question. In this case the question is whether God exists. Then immediately there are objections to the answer that the writer is going to give. Okay, so in other words, the writer is going to say that there is a God. And in this case, so the objections are going to say, no, there's not a God. And it's interesting because as we talked about before, he gives the two strongest possible objections to God that we still use today. And that first one is, if you remember, it seems that God does not exist, because if one of two contraries be infinite, the other would be altogether destroyed. But the word God means that he is infinite goodness. If therefore God existed, there would be no evil discoverable in the world, but there is evil in the world. Therefore God does not exist. We have tackled this question a number of times, both in class, etc. But remember, just by way of review, evil is not a positive reality. Right? Evil is the absence of something. I just talked about this in one of my videos. Maybe it was a theology video. I don't know. But evil is not a positive, extant thing. It's not like this marker here. Right? This is a real thing. If I want to write something on the board and my marker disappears, that's a physical evil, because now I can't write on the board because that good is gone. Magic. So, like darkness doesn't exist. You can't hold darkness in your hand. You can't point out darkness. Darkness is merely the absence of light. This is why it appears dark for us, but certain animals can see in the dark. Right? It's not completely dark out. Okay, good. So that's just a brief discussion. Oh yeah, cold, absence of heat, yada, yada, yada. Objection 2, further, it is superfluous to suppose, it's unnecessary, it's superfluous. It's unnecessary to suppose that there can be accounted for by a few principles that which has been produced by many. Hold on, let me reread that. Further, it is superfluous to suppose that what can be accounted for by a few principles has been produced by many. But it seems that everything we see in the world can be accounted for by other principles. meaning and also assuming that God doesn't exist. So in other words, we don't need God to account for the existence of the universe. We have other principles. Remember, this is 13th century. And he's talking about what we now call natural causes, evolution, the Big Bang. We don't need God. We have the Big Bang, or inflation theory, for those haters out there who want to use the proper terminology, and natural selection to account for the existence of all things. Therefore, we have no need of a God. Okay? Good. And then the next section is on the contrary, which is where Aquinas quotes an authority. I want you to read on the contrary, and we'll be right back. Okay, good. I wanted to let in some more natural light because the screen kept, shifting colors, and I'm hoping that will alleviate that. But the sun keeps popping in and out today. He's being very unfriendly. Okay, once he uses a quotation from Exodus where Moses asked God what his name is. His answer is, I am who am. All right, I am who am. Which, of course, I am, the infinitive of I am is to be. To be means to exist. So God, therefore, is what it means to exist. He is existence itself. He is goodness and existence itself. Okay, and then there's the I answer that, under that, which is the actual body of the text that the author gives. And then at the very end, he replies to the original objections. Today I want to focus on the fifth way, by way of review and starting things out. The fifth way. And I'm going to read it to you. It's very short. The fifth way is taken from the governance of the world. Now, he doesn't mean like the president governing the United States or the governor governing Virginia. The fifth way, he's talking about how the entire universe is governed. The fifth way is taken from the governance of the world. We see that things which lack intelligence, such as natural bodies, act for an end. And this is evident from their acting always, or nearly always, in the same way, so as to obtain the best result. Hence, it is plain that not fortuitously, meaning not by chance, but designedly, do they achieve their end. Now, whatever lacks intelligence cannot move towards an end, unless it be directed by some being endowed with intelligence and knowledge, as an arrow is shot to its mark by the archer. Therefore, some intelligent being exists by whom all natural things are directed to their end. And this being we call God. Okay. We see that things which lack intelligence, such as natural bodies, act for an end. And this is evident in their acting always, or nearly always, in the same way so as to obtain the best result. You can see this all over nature. Acting for an end means acting for a purpose or a goal. To have purpose means intention. To have intention, that requires intelligence. Okay, let's take the spider or the bird. The spider is even more fun because spiders don't have brains. No, I'm not insulting the spider. Sometimes I feel like I'm teaching spiders. But no, spiders don't have brains. They have cerebral ganglion. I don't know if that's how you spell it, but you've been with me long enough, guys, where you're usually correcting my spelling because I'm no good at it. They have cerebral ganglion, which is simply the jumble of the nerve endings all located in one location that do the very functions that an organ brain would do. A bird does have an organ brain, but it's interesting. It used to be an insult to say that someone was a bird brain, A bird brain is someone who's got a tiny, tiny little brain, like a bird. But these animals act in extremely intelligent fashions. They both, the bird builds a nest. And the spider, now the bird builds a nest mostly for shelter and for its to procreate, to have a place for its its offspring to hatch and to be held until they can be thrown out and fly away. The spider builds a web in order to catch prey and have a place to stay, right? So he kind of hangs out in the web, and he has two silk glands in his abdomen, whereby he excretes a non-sticky strand of silk and also a sticky strand of silk. And he knows the difference. He memorizes the difference, I suppose. He constructs his web in such a way that it's not only beautiful to behold for us, unless they're in the wrong place, like indoors, but that it's super strong. It's super improbable that he would know how to design these things. You should really go outside one night, and if you can, look around the house, around the lights, and see if you can find a spider rather, building a web. It's quite entertaining. But they construct these things, and they don't have brains. They do things that are reasonable, that show purpose, but they have no intelligence. Birds have no intelligence. Why should a bird build a nest in the way that it does? Why does it? It does because, and of course, the unsatisfying answer that you're always given is instinct. Well, it's instinct. So next question. What's instinct? Well, it's inborn knowledge. It's knowledge that is born in the animal. Okay, where did it come from? Previous experience? It had to evolve it? Chance? Fortune? It won the lottery? I don't know. Aquinas is claiming that the only way to explain ordered behavior is by an unintelligent being, is that an intelligent being endowed that less intelligent being with the behavior. In his case, he'd literally believe and say, which seems to me to be fairly accurate, the instinct was created by the Creator. Hope that doesn't frighten anyone. Okay, so it used to be that people, when they saw, another part of this is kind of how perfectly even the planets move, how perfectly Earth is situated in our solar system. Isn't it fun? Why is it that there should be one blue planet in this vast solar system that is just the right distance from the sun, that also has a massive gas giant at just the right spacing from it, namely Jupiter, that actually acts as a cosmic shield so that we don't get bombarded all the time by meteors. We just get bombarded by viruses. But and literally, the gravitation of that planet actually shields the Earth from this kind of frequent bombardment. Why is it that our Earth should be mainly made out of iron, or a large quantity of iron? Because there's so much iron in the Earth, we have something called a magnetic field around the Earth. Without that magnetic field, we'd all die, right? Because that certain parts of the sun, the sun is beautiful, and it's the cause of all life in some sense. But without the magnetic field around the Earth, we'd be suffering from all sorts of life-hindering gamma rays and X-rays and whatnots, and of course, I guess we could just simply evolve some feature where those don't affect us, but just so happens that the Earth's magnetic field does that, which is generated by the quantity of iron. So this is all part of this. This is clearly appears to be the design of an intelligent being. And this intelligent being has to be vast and infinite because it's controlling everything. Okay? Aquinas is not, however, arguing for a Christian God. He's not. He's not arguing for, oh, well, Jesus Christ came and died on the cross. He's simply arguing that there must be an intelligent creator behind the universe. That's it. He doesn't argue for any particular version, just that there must be an infinite being. And most scientists and philosophers, up until our very modern times, actually subscribe to that. They may not have thought that God had anything really to do with us, but they saw no other explanation for the design of things. I'll let you read the objections yourself, and or the reply to the objections, rather. And I'm not going to give you an assignment based on this. I just want you, actually I am. You're going to have to, do something. I'm going to put out a Dropbox, and you're going to have to show me that you saw the video all the way to the end. Oh, I don't know. You'll have to tell me who the icon is right here. And just drop that in the Dropbox, and that'll be your assignment. Hope you guys had a good time. Hope you guys to see you soon. I don't know what that's going to be like now, but there it is. Cheers.